Tonight, if you can please walk us through the mapping proposals that have been submitted for consideration.
Good evening, Chairman Congo and members of the Redistricting Committee, as well as members of council, as well as the public. The first proposal that I'm going to go over is proposal number 5, is titled WIM 022. Proposal number 5, and the map is to your far right. For those here in person, there should be a chart of proposal number 5 that talks about the demographics, as well as the population demographic chart is on the website, as well as the map itself. This proposal was submitted by a constituent. So first of all, this proposal is in balance and does meet the criteria pertaining to the 5% under and the 5% over for each district. So it is close within those ranges. So these are not the legal boundaries. These here is just high-level boundaries. And if I can just ask the Department of Elections if you can put up the map on the screen for WIM 022 proposal number 5. So basically, for the first district, the boundaries are like from 36 of Market Street to Rockwood Road to Miller Road to Park Drive to Baynard Boulevard to Concord Avenue and North Monroe Street to 27th and Washington Street to West 30th and North Market Street. So basically, this area covers Brandywine Hills, Harlan area, Ninth Ward neighborhood, as well as Triangle. The second district boundaries is basically from 30th and North Market to 27th and North Washington to 27th and North Monroe to Concord Avenue to Baynard Boulevard and South Park Avenue to Pine Street to East 17th Street to Governor Prince Boulevard to North Locust to East 23rd Street to East 27th and North Market Street. Basically, this area covers some of the neighborhoods such as the Washington Heights area, Brandywine Village. For the third district, it outlined the boundaries are 36th and Market to 27th and Market to 27th and Pine to East 23rd and Locust to Governor Prince to East 17th Street to Pine Street down to Clifford Brown Walk to East 11th to Walnut Street to 4th Street. And this area basically covers the neighborhoods for East Lawn, East Lake, Riverside, Price's Run, and the East Side. The 4th Street boundaries is basically from East 11th and Walnut Street to East 4th Street, Clifford Brown to South Park Street to North Adams Street to 11th and Madison Street to 9th and Madison to 9th and Washington Street to 8th and Tatnall to 2nd and Tatnall Street to Maryland Avenue. Basically, this area covers the neighborhoods for Browntown, the Riverfront, Downtown, Southbridge area, Midtown, Brandywine. For the 5th district, is from Adams and Pennsylvania Avenue to Clayton and Pennsylvania Avenue to Clayton and West 6th Street to West 6th and Broome Street to 3rd and Broome to Adams Street to 2nd and Tatnall Street to 8th and Tatnall to 9th and Washington. This area basically covers the West Center City area, Trinity vicinity, the Cool Springs, Tilton Park area. For the 6th district, it's from 2nd and Maryland Avenue to 3rd and Adams to 3rd and Broome to Broome and Lancaster to Lancaster and Union to Maryland Avenue. This basically covers the Canby Park area, Bayard Square, and Hedgeville. For the 7th district, it's from Clayton and Pennsylvania Avenue to Woodline and Pennsylvania Avenue to Woodline and West 7th Street to 7th and Green Hill Avenue to 7th and North DuPont and Lancaster Avenue to Wilmington Avenue to South Union Street to Lancaster Avenue to Lancaster Avenue and North Broome Street to 6th and North Broome to 6th and North Clayton. This area basically covered the neighborhoods for Westmoreland, the Mack Park, Green Hill Avenue area, Union Park Gardens, the Flats, Bancroft Parkway, Little Italy, and Hilltop. For the 8th district boundaries, it's basically 7th and Green Hill to Rising Sun Lane to North Park Drive, Brandywine to Adams Street, Pennsylvania Avenue to Woodlawn Avenue, Woodlawn Avenue to West 7th Street. And this basically covered the neighborhoods for Wawasset, Highlands, 40 Acres, Trolley Square, and Happy Valley. So once again, Chairman Congo, that is for proposal number 5, and I'm not sure, did you, for public comments, or?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Bass Knight. Do we have anyone from the public that would like to give any comment for proposal number 5? Miss Cheryl Colborn. I believe I see your hand raised, Cheryl Colborn.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yes, my name is Cheryl Colburn. I'm from East Side. I'm a Captain Black Collar for Vanderbilt Avenue, and I do want to support map 3.
Okay, thank you. Did you have any comments for map number 5?
No, I don't have
No.
number 5.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
I'm not that long. Just wanted to make sure I support it, but thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you for joining us. Ms. Bassanite?
I'm sorry, can she repeat her name again?
Cheryl Colburn.
Yes,
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Next, I see 3rd District NPC.
Okay, thank you very much for taking my call. My name is Jan Dennis. I'm the president of 3rd District Neighborhood Planning Council, and I am unequivocally against the SEER map number 5 simply because it cuts into the 3rd District and far too far into the 3rd District, and it just cuts out the 3rd District from having access to the Market Street area. Now, everybody knows that there's going to be some development. That's the DDD that's going to be coming up Market Street from 18th. And there's no way, it is no way that the 3rd District should be disenfranchised from that development. So I'm totally against this here. I don't know who proposed it. You guys had at one time was putting the person that put that map out there. It was on there showing who made that proposal. I don't know who did, but for the 3rd District to be taken from the Market Street area, kicking us all the way into the further east towards the river, I don't think that's fair. So I'm totally against this one. And as the lady just said prior, I'm for map number 3, and map number 9 looks pretty good for us as well. Thank you for taking my call.
Okay. Thank you very much. Kevin Kelly. Mr. Kelly. All right, I'll swing back to you, Mr. Kelly.
Are you able to hear me?
Okay, yes, we can hear you now. Thank you. Yes, we can
I
hear
will
you.
call in.
No, he said he can't hear you, I guess. He said he would call in.
Mr. Kelly?
Mr. Congo, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry about all that confusion with technology. I knew I should have came in person.
No, you're fine.
Thank you very much. My name is Kevin Kelly. I'm a former city council person in the city of Wilmington for 20 years. I served on 2 redistricting committees myself, and I'll speak very briefly to proposal number 5. Proposal number 5 has several vulnerabilities to it. First and foremost, it expands the 6th district in the Hilltop and splits up the Hilltop between Lancaster and 3rd, Broome to Jackson. That is not what we want to do with that neighborhood. It also splits up Little Italy along the boundary there. I think that might be Clayton Street along that boundary and Cool Springs. It drastically changes the 1st and 2nd councilmatic districts, whereby the Triangles Neighborhood Association and all those south of 30th Street are now part of the 1st District. And as Mr. Dennis said earlier, jumps the 2nd District over to the 3rd and really reconfigure the 3rd District from what its natural boundaries are. So I said the purpose of redistricting is to make sure individual districts are not plus or minus 5% of their boundaries. This map accomplishes that, but has a drastic impact on neighborhood representation, where many neighborhoods will now be split by the representatives that look out for them on city council. So I'm voting against proposal number 5. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We appreciate your feedback. I believe I saw one more hand raised. I'm just going to try to access the that person, and then we will go to our community members that are in council chambers. John Peters.
Thank you, President Congo. This is John Peters. Good evening, everyone. I am President of 2nd District MPC, President of Brandywine Village Civic Association, and also President of the Greater Brandywine Village Revitalization. I'd like to speak against this map number 5. First of all, one of the guiding principles, which I think has been spoken to before, is maintaining civic association coherency. While this map does that, at least in parts of the 2nd District, I'm against it because it radically changes the 2nd District from what it currently is, and I believe that's will diminish neighborhood cohesiveness and affinity. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Next we have Peg. I don't want to mispronounce your last name, but Peg. Tigu?
No, it's Tig.
Tig. Okay, I apologize. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. Thank you for having us. I just wanted to express my real support of map number 3. I think map number 5 does not serve us well. And I just wanted to make sure that I had a voice. I agree with Jane Dennis and John Peters.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Map number 3.
All right, thank you for your feedback. Next we have Dubard McGriff.
Hi, how you doing, Council? My name is Dubard McGriff. Thank you, Council President Congo, for allowing me to speak. I have an issue with map 5, only because, not only because, it's literally because of what everybody else says. It takes the business corridor out of the 3rd District. I'm a property owner in the 3rd District, and I think that it's already a vulnerable community, and I think with taking that out, it would make it more vulnerable. And also, I went to a meeting down at the Women's Hope Commission, and I just got to know about, all of the boundaries of the different maps. And I would agree with map 3 because, that's the one that I've seen that really keeps Market Street within those boundaries of.
Okay, thank you, Ms. McGriff. Thank you for your feedback. When you finish, your audio cut off.
Mr. President, there was a technical difficulty. He should be able to unmute his mic again.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Oh, so did you guys hear me?
I think the last part of your comments, I think, was cut off.
Yeah, basically, I agree with map 3. I was over at the Hope Commission the other day, and with individuals who were discussing the maps, and I see that most of them just, cut out the Market Street from the 3rd District, and I don't think that'd be healthy for the neighborhood, especially with all the redevelopment and stuff, revitalization in the city that's going on. Almost every all of the districts has a business corridor, and that would lack in 3rd District. That's all.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. I'd like to acknowledge committee member Carvera, who has joined us. Seeing no one else hands raised from the virtually, we do have Kathleen Patterson, who would like to come forward and give some comments. And also Miss Beverly, Beverly Zimmerman, I do see your hand raised. We will come to you next.
Do I have to keep it on to speak? Okay. I'll keep it on. I'm Kathleen Patterson. I am a resident of the 2nd District, and I only recently started to look at this redistricting, and I'd listened in part to my councilwoman had a Facebook Live where she talked about it some. And when I look at the map for for Proposal 5, I really have only focused on basically where I live, which is currently the 2nd District, and I'm not in favor of number 5. One of the reasons is, as I heard Councilman Darby talk about, was this is not a compact district. It's got some really weird juts, and it does break up what a lot of people, or a number of people in the 2nd District have currently been working on with trying to build community and unity between the neighborhoods on either side of Baynard Boulevard. And if you split that district along Baynard Boulevard, you kind of it's a kind of a slap in the face to the work that people have been doing in the community there. And so I oppose proposal number 5.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for your feedback. Beverly Zimmerman.
Hi, thank you. Thanks for coming to me. I don't know if there's anything I can say other than what I've just heard Kathleen Patterson and Kevin Kelly say. I agree. I don't like the plan for map number 5, and I do support map number 3. And just wanted to go on record with that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And seeing no more hands raised virtually. And seeing no one from council with any concerns, we will go to our next proposal. Just before you go, Ms. Passanite, Councilmember Darby.
Yes, I just wanted to first say thank you to the community person who participated and drew this map. A lot of people aren't in support of the map. I'm not either because of the 2nd District. I really love how Eastside is kept together, which is a common community, a community of interest. However, I do want to say thank you for your participation. This is what redistricting is about the community coming, voicing what they want to see, and that this community person did that and was brave enough to submit something and then have it on public display for people to say they agree or don't agree. So I just wanted to say that community engagement is so important and key, even if I don't agree. But I just want to say thank you to the community for participating.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the next proposal that was submitted, it was proposal number 6. Unfortunately, proposal number 6, it was submitted from someone from the community, but it is not in balance. It doesn't meet the criteria for the 5%, so that won't be considered. The next proposal is proposal number 7. And basically, with proposal number 7, if we're looking at, well, number 1, proposal number 7 is within balance. It does meet the criteria per city code. If we look at proposal map number 7, and if I could have the Department of Elections, if you can pull up the map for proposal number 7, please. First of all, if we look at the boundaries for District 1, there were no changes with the boundaries for District 1. For the boundaries for District 2, there were no changes. For the 3rd district, there was some changes. Basically, moved from the 4th district to the 3rd district, 9th and Walnut to 7th and Walnut, 7th and Walnut down to 7th and Lombard, 7th and Lombard to 4th and North Lombard, down to the tracks. For the 5th district, moves a small portion from the 5th district to the 7th district, 2nd and Union, and 2nd and Lancaster to 2nd and Lincoln. And basically that impact roughly 50 based upon the census. For the 6th district, basically moving from the 6th district to the 7th district, 2nd and Union to 2nd and Lincoln to Union and Barry to Lincoln and Oak Street, which impacts roughly 264. There were no changes to the 8th district. So those were the main changes for proposal number 7, based upon moving the current lines with the boundaries that I just mentioned.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bass Knight. Do we have any committee members who have any comments? Any council members have any comments?
Yeah, again, I want to say thank you to the community for participating. Some of my issues with the map is that it's not compact enough. I also believe that our community over Eastside could be a little bit more put together, since it's a community of interest. But I want to say again, thank you to the community person for submitting this. It is so key and important that we have community people involved in this process. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Councilmember Darby. This time I'll go to Councilmember Gray.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm in support of this map. I think there is the least movement of all the maps. First, second, and 8th district do not move. And only 50 people move, I think, in the 5th district. So I'm definitely in support of this map. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Cabrera.
I just had a quick question. On Broome Street, where you have the 2 blocks that are still part of the 8th district where Pennsylvania Avenue divides, is that still the same? That didn't change? That remains in the 8th? On this map?
Department of Elections, can you put back up map proposal number 7, please? And Councilwoman Cabrera, could you repeat your question again so they can zoom in on that area for you, please?
So it would be Broome Street, Broome, and Pennsylvania Avenue. There's 2 blocks that go into, that are part of the 8th. Because you said that nothing was changed in the 8th, so I can only assume that those 2 blocks on the south side of Pennsylvania Avenue are still part of the 8th?
There was no change to the 8th district.
Okay, so, all right, thank you.
Thank you. I believe we have Kevin Kelly from the community that wants to comment.
Can you hear me okay, Mr. Congo?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
So my concern with this map is it has some small, changes, but it's taking the Bayard Square area and taking that and moving it to the 7th from Sycamore Street to Lancaster and Lincoln to Union, which I don't see the benefit of it. It's a couple hundred people. That area right to your left is the area that's now going to the 7th district. There's no need to split up Bayard Square because its boundary is really all the way to Union Street. So I'd be opposed to this map based on that change in that district. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kelly. Andre Harris.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Awesome. I've had a chance to look at the maps, and I actually support map number 3. I think it makes the most sense as a ward president and as a member of the city.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for your feedback. Seeing no one else from the community or from council, with any comments, we will go to our next proposal.
The next proposal is proposal number 9. If I can please ask the Department of Elections, if you can please bring up proposal number 9. And basically with proposal number 9, this here was submitted by a constituent. Everything does balances out based upon what's in our code for redistricting. With proposal number 9, if we look at our existing boundaries, there was no change to District 1. There was no changes to District number 2. For District 3, I'm just going to read some of the boundaries. And once again, these are not like legal boundaries, but just some of the high level boundaries. Is 27th and Market Street to South Park Drive to Clifford Brown Walk to East 12th Street, and North Walnut to East 7th and North Walnut to East 7th and Swedes Landing Road to East 26th Street to Governor Prince Boulevard. Basically, for the 3rd District, this basically covers Riverside, East Side, and Price's Run. For the 4th District, it's covering Clifford Brown Walk to East 12th and North Walnut to East 7th, and North Walnut to East 7th and Swedes Landing Road to Clifford Brown Walk to South Park Drive to North Adams to 9th and North Adams to 9th and North Tatnall to 2nd and North Tatnall to 2nd and MLK to Maryland Avenue to 95. And basically with District 4, it covers the Southbridge neighborhoods, Riverfront, Midtown, Brandywine, and Trinity vicinity. For District number 5, it's basically from 2nd and Tatnall Street to 9th and Tatnall Street to Adams Street to Pennsylvania Avenue to North Rodney Street to 5th and North Broome Street to 5th and North Connell Street to Lancaster Avenue. For District number 6, there were no changes to the current boundaries. For District number 7, the primary boundaries are Wilmington Avenue to Union Street to Lancaster and North Connell Street to 5th and Rodney Street to Pennsylvania Avenue to Grant and Pennsylvania Avenue to West 7th Street to North DuPont to Lancaster. For the 8th District, basically it's from Pennsylvania Avenue and Grant to Adams Street to South Park Street to South Park Drive to Rising Sun Lane to Green Hill Avenue to West 7th and Green Hill. That's basically a high-level summary for proposal number 9.
Thank you, Ms. Bass-Knight. Any committee members have any questions? Committee member Darby?
I don't have any specific questions, but I want to say that I'm in support of map 9. The constituent who actually drew this map looked at map 3, and they saw that there were communities of interest that were being split up. Specifically Cool Spring, Tilton Park, Little Italy, and East 28th Street, and it kept more of the East Side neighborhood unified in this map. So I'm in support of map 9. It's also very compact. It avoids unnecessary splitting, and it keeps communities of interest together. So what happened was that this specific constituent is also well versed in redistricting. They know what they're talking about, right? They were able to put the civic associations up to map 3 and say, there are civic associations and neighborhoods being split in map 3, and how do we unify those communities? So I'm in support of map 9 at this point, and because it keeps communities unified, it keeps more of the East Side neighborhood together, and it's more compact.
Okay, thank you. Any other committee members? Any other council members have any comment? This time we'll go to our community members. 3rd District NPC.
Okay, thank you very much again. Jan Dennis, 3rd District Neighborhood Planning Council. I like, as I stated before, I like map 9. Map 9 is good. It does keep the east side. I like the fact that it extends it all the way out to that we'll be able to enjoy the Brandywine River and a part of the Christina River as well, for the development that may be coming along both of those corridors. Market Street out to 27th Street, which is good because that's only 1 block difference. And then not only that, it includes 35th Street out East Lawn Avenue, which would bring them. Yes, it does keep the civic associations, adding to civic associations into the 3rd District, which would be great. but the only thing is, it's a loss of the Price is One Park. That's the only problem I have with this map. However, between map 3 and map 9, I am in support, but more in favor of map 3. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Kevin Kelly.
President Congo, let me address you the correct way this time, sir. Sorry about that. The challenge with map 9 is that it splits Hilltop up into several components. Broome Street is the natural boundary for individuals who live below and above it. So in this map, it dips down to North Connell Street and splits up that Hilltop area where you're going below Broome Street. It also moves Cool Springs Tilton, which really doesn't, Broome Street kind of is that natural boundary. So this map splits up Little Italy, Hilltop, and Cool Springs, which it's very difficult, I know, to get all the maps not to split up neighborhoods. I think that's the goal of what we're trying to do here. But I just think it's just moving some pieces around of the puzzle that don't make much sense. I won't comment on the other areas of the city. That's for those to be. But listen, nobody understands this city probably better than I, because I've been through every neighborhood 10 different times knocking on doors. But I would say for this map, it's got some good qualities. But I think that from my standpoint, as a West Side person, I don't like the proposal to split up those areas. So I would be against this one.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Seeing no one else from the community, I will circle back to council members. Councilmember Fields.
Yes, thank you, Council Chair. Good evening, everyone. I have to actually agree with Mr. Kelly when it comes to knowing what West Side is and how you're actually splitting it up. It may be compact, however, if you don't know the neighborhoods and you don't know the boundaries of these neighborhoods, you really can't tell what you're splitting up. You're just kind of going by the names. So again, I have to agree with Mr. Kelly. This is, I really appreciate the person who, the community member who took the time out to actually do the map, and I thank them very much. However, I totally have to disagree against this map because they're definitely splitting up Hilltop and they're splitting up Cool Springs. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Committee Member Cabrera.
So it seems that there's some good parts of map 9, not 100%, and we know that we can tweak the map. So far, it looks like number 3 is the best proposal put forth, and that the majority of the community and council members are in support of. So for looking at the good parts that map 9 has, which I agree, we try to keep these community and civic associations together. There's people that have lived there. They don't want to see that separated. If there's a way to keep that together and keep the good qualities of 9 that most of us could agree upon and insert them into 3, because I understand that we can tweak it, that is something that we can do and we can review and look at, because right now it seems like number 3 is the popular map. I too am in support of it. But in listening to the concerns of the community, that is something that is within our power to do. Yes, no, something we can do, or?
If that is a question, you would have to advise how would you like those changes to be incorporated?
Okay.
I mean, like, and Chairman, if I just may say, that is November the 15th was like the deadline for proposals. But if there is going to be, if you would like to make like changes to a proposal, we would need to know like what those changes are.
Okay, I'm just going back from the last meeting that we said that at this meeting that people sent their proposals in, that we move forward map number 3, but that if it needed to be tweaked per what we hear from the feedback we're getting from the community, that was a possibility. So you're saying someone would have to actually, like, let's say if it was me, go in there and make the changes and propose it. I'm not saying that I'm going to do that, but I'm listening to what the public is saying. It seems like 9 has some good attributes that could be incorporated into 3. Is that something that would have to be done here tonight, or is that another meeting, or what is the process, I guess is what I'm asking.
Okay, so, so the process, if I may, Mr.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Chair. So, the process is basically, for tonight, there's supposed to be, a decision made as far as, which proposal, this redistricting committee would like to have heard at the public hearing that's scheduled on, December the 6th. So even though, if a proposal is recommended out of here for the December 6th public hearing, even at that December 6th public hearing, could a change be made to whatever proposal it is? Absolutely. And it would be up to this committee to determine like what that is.
Okay.
So there could be possibly an amendment.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. Committee member Spadola.
Thank you, Council President. This map is definitely very compelling, and I believe I spoke with the author of it via email previously, and his whole intent was really to unify Little Italy, not to put words in his mouth. But I think Mr. Kelly makes really good points about how the desire to unite Cool Springs inadvertently divides Hilltop. But I think he has his hand raised, and I look forward to hearing his comments. But I do think this is this map has some good bones to it.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Fields.
Yes, I just wanted to be on record that I am in favor of map 3 as well. And again, I will speak to map 9. I'm not saying it was a bad map. I'm just saying, it's just, the way that it's splitting up the Cool Springs area. We have to, that just can't happen. Other than that, it is a good map. But I am in favor of map number 3. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We'll swing back for public comment. Mr. Dwayne Bensing.
Thank you, President Congo and members of City Council. Appreciate your feedback on this map. I actually drafted this map in response to some of the feedback we received last month. I really appreciate all the public comment that we have this evening. As has been mentioned, the intent of drafting this proposal, I started with map 3, so I'm glad to hear lots of folks like map 3. That's exactly what I started with. And my intent was to keep the neighborhoods of Cool Springs, Hilton Park, Little Italy, and Hilltop more united, and to respond to the East Side concern of keeping that community less divided. So that was the intent behind drawing this map. Hearing this feedback, I'm a little surprised to hear some of the descriptions of where the boundaries are of Cool Spring, Tilton Park, Little Italy, and Hilltop. Those boundaries do not align with what is posted on the City Council website of Civic Association boundaries. I understand that map may be outdated and not completely accurate description of where those boundaries are, but I encourage folks in their public input. I think it'd be really great if we could have a more robust conversation about where exactly these boundaries between these neighborhoods exist, because if you overlay the Civic Association map with Proposal 9, you will see that those boundaries do fit neatly within the proposed boundaries of map 9, and that was entirely the intent there. So, comparing district or map 3 and map 9, map 3 does have a piece of it that goes around District 5 that includes Cool Spring and Little Italy and kind of divides all that area out, and also has District 8 dipping into the Cool Spring neighborhood. So I hope that when folks look at map 3, they're also evaluating whether map 3 also divides the Cool Spring, Tilton Park, Little Italy communities in the same way that they have extensively evaluated map 9. I hope they're also looking at the way that map 3 may unintentionally divide communities of interest. And just another thing, we haven't heard a whole lot about keeping the East Side neighborhood together, or more of the East Side neighborhood together. And I would just like to share, one of the main differences between Proposal 9 and Proposal 3 is that more of East Side is united into the 3rd district in Proposal 9. It is split almost evenly, 50% to 50% in Proposal 3, completely dividing the East Side community and making it such that it doesn't have real impact, influence as a united community of interest. So that's some feedback about why I suggested this map And Ms. Bessant, I appreciate her description of the changes. There is a minor change between Proposal 9 and Proposal 3 with District 1. District 1 cut out a piece of East Lake community and included it into the District 3 and cut it out of District 1. I tried to correct that. That's just a couple of blocks there in the south boundary of District 1. So I tried to keep District 1 closer aligned with how it is right now. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bassinet.
And if I just may, yes, so the boundaries that I had outlined was not so much to compare it to 3, but to compare it to the current boundaries. In addition, the Civic Association map that is out there on the city's website, those boundaries are outdated. We have reached out to the city to try to get that updated. So we apologize that that information is old, but we have reached out to see what can be done to get that updated, because a request was even made from a council person here, but because we didn't have the information to update, there was nothing that we really could do. So that's the reason that outdated information is still out there on the city's website.
All right, thank you. Committee Member Harley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to speak to what was just shared as related to civic associations. So yes, the information that is out on the website is outdated because of the concern and the statements that were made at our last meeting last month regarding the civic association boundaries. I did reach out to Mr. Bensing to get a better understanding to what he was saying and what he was looking at. So I did reach out to him. We had a conversation about it. And the civic associations that are out there in the 4th District are no longer active. So no civic associations are going to be split on the east side, because the few that are out there are not active civic associations. And as it relates to the Little Italy and Cool Springs, I reached out to the council members to express the same sentiments as it related to the civic associations, because I think that as we're stating here, the residents, the community should have some input in terms of how they feel about the civic associations that they are currently attending. And to my understanding, a couple of the civic associations in Little Italy, as well as Cool Springs, they have been meeting together for a long time, and they work together very well. They are very unified. And that is the feedback that I received as it relates to those communities. And again, I appreciate the thought, the work, the interest that has been put in to Proposal 9. None of these proposals are going to be perfect. I get that. I will say again, as it relates to the east side, which seems to be some interest, a lot of interest, is that there are no civic associations that are being split up as it relates to map 3. But I wanted it to be on record that the council members had the opportunity to weigh in on those other communities as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And circling back to public comment, we have the 3rd District NPC.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm glad it came up about the civic association boundaries and that map being out of sync. If that could happen, that would be great, because yes, in the 3rd District alone, and I've been monitoring the maps for years, there's a lot of overlap. And since we're redistricting the councilmatic districts, it may be a very good idea to realign the civic association maps as well, specifically in the 3rd District, because if you look at it, I mean, it's an overlap which creates confusion. So that would be great. In fact, getting all the civic association presidents together and maybe have a redistricting of the civic association maps. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate your feedback. Seeing no one else from council with their hands raised. No one else from the community. Okay, thank you. I'd just like to acknowledge that committee member Washima Dixon has joined us. Committee member Darby.
Yes, I have a question. I know Councilwoman Cabrera asked these questions about the amendments. I know you said possible, like it's a possibility. When will we get like clarity on if the amendments can happen or not happen? Like, because a possibility just means it may or may not happen. So how do we get clarity on the process?
So, if I may, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman?
Ms. Bassnight.
So, if I may, so maybe I used the word possibility because the December 6th meeting hasn't like occurred yet. So if December 6th meeting happened and there's a proposal made out of this meeting and someone wants to make an amendment to that proposal, that can happen. So for example, if proposal number 1 is voted out tonight for the public hearing on December the 6th, and if between now and December the 6th, someone decides that they want to make a change or amendment to that proposal number 1, that amendment could be made, provided that it is within the 5% that you're making changes to the existing proposal map. So that can be done. So that's the reason I mentioned the word possibility, because it hadn't happened as of yet. And I just want it to be clear, the process, we do have it stipulated like in the code, and we did put it on the website. So I just want to make sure that, I'm clear when I'm explaining everything like to the public, because we want people to be involved in the process, and we want to be as transparent as possible to everyone.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bassnight. And seeing no more hands raised from the public or from council, we will move to our next proposal.
Yes, and Chairman Congo, the next proposal is proposal number 3. And proposal number 3 was the proposal that the committee had made at the last meeting for a recommendation for consideration to council. So that proposal is also out on the website for people still to view. And we do have the map here as well. And no changes was made from the proposal or the recommendation that was made from the last meeting.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bassnight. Seeing no comments from any committee members.
Yes, I do.
Okay, committee member Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. In regards to map 3, as we all heard tonight, it was like, I don't know if my count's right, was it 9 people and 2 were for map 9. I must say that based on map 3, the majority of the individuals that I've spoken to, as you heard from tonight, Old Brandywine Village, NCP, some block captains, some presidents, or just community members from various sides of town, because it wasn't everybody on there who supported from the 3rd district, but most of them have homes in the 3rd district or some type of businesses, or majority of them live over there. I would say I was in favor of map 3 for one reason. It was only 3 districts that were affected that needed to either add or remove some people from their district, because redistricting is all about moving people. It's not about color, race, or buddy Mandarin. I also supported because it finally gave the 3rd district some economic development and some diversity up on 9th Street, coming straight down to the end of 16th Street. And I, representing the 3rd district, I needed the most numbers because of the prison population. So I just wanted to say I'm just in favor of map 3 tonight. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Committee member Darby?
Yes. So I, out of all the maps, I believe there needs to be amendments made to map 3 for me to be in support of it. One of my main concerns about map 3 is the compactness. It can be way more compact. Map 9 addressed a lot of the issues with civic associations and the compactness of map 3. And also, the purpose of redistricting is not just about numbers. Now, that is important. The purpose of redistricting is about protecting communities of interest. It's about not dividing communities. It is about, I can tell you, well, it's not about protecting seats and incumbents' addresses. It's not about buddy mandering, drawing maps that are based on protecting people's seats. So those are very key things. It is not just about numbers, which is so key and important. And we had experts like the ACLU and the League of Women Voters come and tell the redistricting community that. And what I think is so key about map 9 for me is that it keeps most of the East Side District in 1, and no, East Side does not have active civic associations. However, it's a very similar community. East Side from 9th Street to 2nd is very similar to the other part of East Side. They are not two distinct neighborhoods. They are not two distinct. They are literally the same people. They are related. Like, they are literally the same. And putting it mostly into the 3rd district would pair it with more similar communities than with the 4th district, which East Side is not similar to the majority of the 4th district, which is our riverfront downtown area, which we know gets a lot of attention. So redistricting is about representing communities. Redistricting is about having a collective voice for the community. It is not just about numbers. Redistricting has been used historically to control communities, keep communities silenced by how lines are drawn. It has been used to increase people's political power and leverage and to protect their seats and their address. So I wanted to be very clear that redistricting is not just about numbers, because it has been used to disenfranchise communities since the very existence of redistricting. So I do not want people to take that lightly, that redistricting is just about numbers, because that is not true. If you talk to anyone who is like a redistricting guru, expert, who is in the field, who's about protecting communities of interest, they would never say anything like that, because redistricting hurts communities, and it can hurt communities. And that's why it's so key and important. It happens every 10 years. And that's why we have to make sure that we're speaking up for communities that are being divided. So I just want to make sure that is on, that the community knows that that is not just about numbers. It's not that simple. It is about communities of interest. It is about protecting communities. And a lot of times redistricting has been used to protect political elected officials. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Committee member Harley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I just want to make it clear that map 3, when this map was put together, first of all, you had 4 out of 7 redistricting committee members that agreed with this map. Let's start there. Last month, the redistricting committee is about reaching out to community members and civic associations, going to civic association meetings to hear community members, reaching out to organizations that are experts like the Delaware League of Women Voters, which we reached out to them as well to get some impact. And there were no objections from some of these professional organizations as it relates to how map 3 was being composed. When you look at map 3, when you look at the boundaries, so when you start with the boundaries, all 4 boundaries within the 4th district were basically shifted within 1 to 2 blocks. So community interest is definitely still the same. Cultural interest is still the same. When you talk about going across the street 2 blocks, that's the same community. 2 blocks across the street is the same community interest. And not only that, but I also believe that the 3rd district deserved to have more economic development opportunities versus going all the way down to 2nd Street, taking the 3rd District up to Market Street, is allowing them to be a part of the commerce, more of the commerce, and allowing more economic development. Everyone from 2nd Street to 16th Street do not live the same way. They are not the same from 2nd to 16th between Walnut and Church. They're not the same. But in many ways, they are the same, but not just the same. So when you think about how MAP 3 was composed, again, community, we had professional organizations, we had individuals that have participated in redistricting, and again, most of all, going to the civic associations, even though individuals may not have come to speak on the public comments, but in meetings where organized groups are together and they are discussing how they would like to see the redistricting take place. So what has been done in the past may have been done in the past in terms of political interest, Buddy Mandarin, some of the things that were said on tonight. But I know for a fact, because MAP 3, the individuals have been working on it since August. It seems like to me since last month, other individuals got very involved, and which is good. The more involvement, the more engagement, that's great. But you had individuals working with MAP 3 since August, reaching out to communities, as I said, not to be repetitive, reaching out to the different MPCs. And again, on the east side, I believe that the 3rd District, they deserve to get a part of the business district. I believe that they deserve to get the opportunity to have more commerce. So when you look at the 3rd District right now, you have the majority of the 3rd District is all the same as it relates to not having more business opportunity, but bringing the 3rd District up to Market Street between 9th and 16th, they're going to be able to be different players in the game, and I think that the 3rd District definitely deserves that. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Johnson.
Yes, I actually just second Councilmember Harley's sentiments. I love comparing even MAP 3. Well, I'm number one in favor of MAP 3. I believe it's the most balanced, pragmatic approach, and it spreads economic opportunity. And I think we have to look at that. Community interest may mean one thing, but by keeping communities of interest, we actually concentrate low-income neighborhoods together, which actually further, I think, adds to the wealth gap in the city, wealth disparities among districts. We actually, MAP 9 concentrates the wealth in only a few districts. And I think that would be very bad for our city. So I believe MAP 3 is the most balanced map, it's the most pragmatic map, and I really think it spreads economic opportunity, especially for the 3rd District, to allow them to participate in the Market Street activity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I see no more questions or comments from any council members or committee members. We're going to move to the public. We have several members from the public who would like to comment. First, we have David Ross.
Good evening, President Congo and the City Council. Thanks for hearing me. Excuse me. But I just want to say that I'm the president of Trinity Vicinity Neighborhood Association, as well as the president of the 4th District NPC. We had a presentation of the redistricting at both meetings for October and November, respectively. There were no objections from our board, from either the neighborhood association and or the NPC board. It also seems to me, again, that MAP 3 is the most balanced map that's been presented. Thank you for hearing me.
Thank you.
And we being the 4th District NPC and Trinity Vicinity Neighborhood Association are in favor of MAP 3.
Okay, thank you for your feedback.
Thank you.
Next, we have Kevin Kelly.
Good evening, President Congo. First, Councilmember Darby, I must sit and address some of your statements about redistricting, and they may be accurate at certain levels. But as a member who served on both the 10 and the 2000 redistricting committee for city council, we never had any of that thought in our mind about protecting anyone for any political power or looking out for any special interest that we had. If you remember, in 2010, there was massive changes made to the districts in the city of Wilmington because the riverfront was expanding, and it was felt best that that district should be represented together, hence why Councilmember Harley represents that area. I am in favor of proposal number 3. It is similar to proposal number 9. Regarding the east side, the difference between the east side 9 and 7 is the fact that in proposal 9, the east side starts on 7th Street. In proposal 3, it starts on 9th Street and it ends at Walnut and doesn't go up. But I'll comment more on the west side. I think what we have is we're going to have a split up of Little Italy and east side based on these maps to see what we can do. I think they're just unfortunate for what we can do. We can't keep everybody in the one spot. In a perfect world, the 5th and the 7th district would line back down Broome Street like it has from Lancaster down, and part of that would still stay in the 8th district. But the 3rd district, we're not able, I don't believe, to be able to do everything that we would like to do with these maps, but I think it has the least impact on neighborhoods through the proposal that it has. And I would suggest that we move forward with map number 3 and have that as the one that City Council presents for the community to vote on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next we have Cassandra Marshall.
Hi, good evening. This is Cassandra Marshall, and I'm the president of the Quaker Hill Neighborhood Association and speaking for them this evening. I am speaking in favor of map 3 with some caveats. I did live through the 2020 redistricting, and the 5th district got drawn in, very unusual ways. Mainly for a lot of reasons that I don't entirely understand. But the thing that I do know is that a number of our neighborhoods in that district got split up and had difficult times in terms of dealing with multiple city council people. So the map number 3 in particular, I think, goes and repairs a lot of the neighborhood split up that had been done in 2020, as far as I can tell. While I think that there are some interesting ideas in the 9th, in map 9, specifically trying to keep Little Italy together and specifically trying to keep Cool Spring together, we definitely want to make sure that, what we come up with, in particular on map 3, that we go as far as we can to keep these neighborhoods together. And that is in 2010, I'm reminded it's 2010 that we got last drawn where we had that crazy district, those crazy district lines. So I'm here to speak for map 3, and that is the preference of the board of the Quaker Hill Neighborhood Association, and hope we can do some additional tweaking to keep some other neighborhoods together. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your feedback. Next we have John Pitas.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to emphasize, I don't think in my previous comments I was clear, but I am supporting proposal number 3. And I just want to make that clear. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next we have Dwayne Bensing.
Thank you, President Congo. I have just mostly a question that I have not yet, that I've been trying to get more information from, so I hope that maybe the conversation will elaborate. Proposal 3, my issue with it is really the division at the boundaries of District 5, District 8, and District 7 in the neighborhoods of Cool Spring and Little Italy. And so I would just really like a conversation about why the lines were drawn the way they were at those boundary lines, and whether those are dividing those communities and whether that makes sense, because I just don't understand the way that jigsaw puzzle District 7 wraps around District 5 in the way that it does in the Little Italy neighborhood. And I've heard no justification for that. And similarly in the East Side neighborhood, the lines are going to be drawn such that, given the population, that I don't know that there's a way to keep all of East Side together in one cohesive district. But again, I would like an elaboration or an explanation for why the lines in Proposal 3 draw or divide the East Side in the way that it does. It doesn't make any logical sense. I chose 7th Street as a boundary line between the 3rd and 4th in Proposal 9 because that's a major street through the East Side neighborhood. Are there reasons that make sense for the way the dividing lines are in Proposal 3? I'd just like more conversation about that, but really appreciate all the public input tonight. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Next, we have Wes Smith Jr.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Councilman Congo. Council President Congo. Just want to say that piggybacking that I'm in full support of Map 3. West Center City and Quaker Hill have been split for many years. For many years, even as growing up and everything like that. So I'm in full support of Map 3. Just want to make sure I went on record saying that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks for your feedback. Next, we have Kevin Kelly.
Thank you for allowing me to speak again. Mr. Sessions, this is Kevin Kelly. I don't know what was going on with the East Side, but historically, why Little Italy has that jigsaw is because long ago that was, I think it still may be in the 4th represented district, and it was put in there so certain areas, if you notice, the Antonian is a building that is outside of that area, and that was so some areas of Little Italy could be put into a different spot. And that map has probably been that way for as long as I can remember, for 30 plus years, that little bit of spot that sticks up. And you make a relevant point about whether it still should be that way, but that's the historical context on that part of it. Thanks. Thank you, President Congo.
Okay, thank you. Committee Member Harley.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I was sitting here trying to decide, if I wanted to speak on the question, but I think that I do need to mention, as it relates to why some of the lines were drawn the way they are between the 3rd and the 4th. First, I already explained in terms of economic development, moving the lines up towards Market Street. I've heard several times down, I don't know, within the last 3 to 4 years, why is everything on Market Street in the 4th district? Now you try to change the lines to make sure that some of the underserved districts are part of Market Street. Then, there's questions about that. However, we're talking about, instead of going over 2 blocks from 9th to 7th, we decided that in Map 3, if you look at Map 3 and you look at Map 9, Proposal 9, that's the difference there, 2 blocks from 9th to 7th. Okay, if you go from 9th to 7th, on the East Side, you get 2 more blocks of the same thing. If you go from Walnut to Market, you're going to get more economic diversity. You're going to get more ethnic diversity in the 3rd district, and more so because there are individuals that really feel on the East Side that they don't have the opportunity to participate in more economic development and economic opportunity. So those were some of the reasons that I was made aware of as it related to moving those lines from 9th between Walnut to Market versus from 9th to 7th. And again, we don't feel as though Map 3 is a perfect map, but again, when you look at Newcastle County, how they use their guidelines in terms of being contiguous, looking at boundaries, keeping community of interest, cultural interest, Map 3 is the closest to all of those guidelines. And again, it was voted out last month. Tonight, you heard a number of people that were in support of MAP 3, and I don't believe that nobody feels as though MAP 3 is perfect. What we're saying is that there was plenty of input from the community, from MPC leaders, from some of the experts, and again, the experts didn't see anything wrong with the way MAP 3 was composed. So I hope that I'm answering some of the questions, and if any of the other redistricting committee members want to speak to it, they are free to speak to it. But again, we know that it's not perfect, but we definitely feel as though it's one that is definitely keeping neighborhoods closer together. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And while we were on public comment, I did miss James Shanahan, so I want to circle back to public comment before we continue with council members, please. James Shanahan. James Shanahan, we can't hear you if you're speaking.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you. Sorry for this connection. I'm on the board of Old Brandywine located within District 3. Talking to my fellow other members of our community, and we support of redistricting for several reasons. First is that actually extends across the river to to 9th Street, and therefore we think it is a parts of Brandywine Village local. Supportive of MAP 3 are that we do not see a need to the districting map. Relatively stable over the past, and therefore to make radical changes we unnecessarily. And if I just suffice it to say that, that we are strongly in support.
Mr. Shanahan, your audio is going in and out, but if I heard you correctly, I believe that you are in support of proposal number 3.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Unfortunately, we cannot hear you, Mr. Shanahan. I see that you are trying to speak, but the audio, there's a bad connection. But thank you for your feedback. This time we'll go back to Council Committee Member Cabrera. You had a comment?
Yes, I did want to add that what Council Member Harley stated is really what we are trying to do here. We want to make sure that there is a fluency. That's one of my concerns, that we should have a fluency spread out, keeping the neighborhoods as close together as what they are versus, trying to fit, a square peg in a round hole. My only concern with MAP 3, where we can tweak it, is I feel that more of the natural boundaries could have been used, but it is the best map out there that addresses the concerns, keeps the neighborhoods together, addresses the numbers that have to, we have to make the changes. It does add more to the 3rd district of opportunities that they should have. So with the possibility of being able to tweak to address any of the concerns we heard here tonight, I think it's a good map, and that is what was taken into consideration it's not perfect. It's not going to be perfect, and it does look weird in the drawings. But when you drive through these neighborhoods and you see who lives there, it looks that way because we're trying to provide that balance that's been provided in the past. And every 10 years we have to do this. But to answer that question, yes, I think that that's important that we distribute the affluency throughout the city, and this map does speak to that and keeps as many as the natural boundaries as possible. I'd like to see more of that, but again, it is out of what we have to look at. It is the best choice, and we could always tweak it as a committee or any proposals that anyone wants to, send in before to tweak the map that we vote out of this committee tonight to, perfect it as best we can. There may not be a perfect map that everybody agrees upon, but to come as close to it as possible. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other committee members have any comment? Committee member Darby?
Yes, so the same as everyone, support of map 3. However, it does need amendments and some tweaks done to it. But I also want to add to the conversation. We keep talking about economic development, and I want to be clear that there's a false narrative that when poor communities and Black and brown communities benefit from economic development from our city. We have the downtown development, we have riverfront, and the neighborhoods still around it are still in poverty, still experience gun violence. So I don't want to use false narratives and false conversations to try to convince people why something is good, because we have the riverfront development right around it, communities living in poverty, people who barely can afford rent, kids who can't eat. The education system still sucks. So like we still have these issues, and we have economic development, and the economic development here in the city really only benefits the people who either live in that area or the people who benefit from the development of that. So I want to be very clear, riverfront development has not changed the economic development of surrounding poor neighborhoods and Black and brown neighborhoods. So I want to be clear on that notion. However, I'm in support of map 3 with amendments.
Okay, thank you. Committee member Harley?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to mention that the riverfront community is made up of businesses and residents, just like any other community. And one of the things that I think is totally awesome, since I've been representing the 4th District, that we do have 5 new African American business owners down at the riverfront. And I do think that allows them to have the opportunity, having the conversations and talking about opportunities. You now have 4 African American businesses down at the riverfront, and moving the 3rd District from Walnut Street to Market Street will give more African Americans the opportunity to move in those areas as well. So one of the things that I'm hearing is about false narratives. I'm speaking about facts. I'm currently the 4th District representative. I know what has changed within the last 4 years. And I know that just like in that community, as they met and got together to talk about what's good for the area down there, they wanted more African Americans down at the riverfront, and that's what they have. And I do believe that the same possibility, the same opportunity can be for the 3rd District as well. So this is all about really the community growing, having more access, and having more opportunity. And that is really what we are trying to accomplish, wanting more equity for African Americans within the 3rd District, wanting more opportunity, and wanting more access. And the way that that happens is coming together and talking about it. So if it can happen down at the riverfront, I believe that it can happen in the 3rd District moving towards Market Street. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Committee member Oliver.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just like to say also that I'm glad that a lot of people participated tonight. And as you stated, Mr. President, I'm glad you did extend it. You know, at first I felt some kind of way, but the more the merrier. We had 16 people who was for map 3. We had 2 people for map 9. And it just shows the engagement of the community, whatever way it went. But I'm just glad that a lot of community did come out, community members as a whole, some from the 4th, some from the 5th. It showed the diversity tonight. Some from the 7th and the 6th who came out and expressed how they felt. And Mr. President, if it's okay with you, I'd like to move a motion to continue to accept map 3, which was already recommended tonight.
Second.
All right, it's been moved in second to accept map proposal 3. On the question. All in favor?
Aye.
I will start with, I'm going to do a roll call with committee members. Councilmember Darby?
What are we voting on? What are we voting? I'm sorry.
Right now we are voting on proposal 3.
With amendments, yes.
Michelle?
So her motion didn't say like with amendments. I mean, so is it, I mean, yes or no? I mean,
So
we know what the process is.
Well, no then, no.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Committee member Oliver?
Yes.
Committee member Harley?
Yes.
Committee member Cabrera?
Yes.
Committee member Dixon?
Yes.
Committee member Spadola?
Yes.
And I will also vote yes. Motion passed. So we also have the opportunity to consider a minority report, which would be considered based on the decision of our committee, which is technically a report that did not receive a majority vote of redistricting committee to send to City Council for consideration. So at this time, I will accept the motion as to whether or not we will send a minority report. On the question?
Mr. President, could you further elaborate?
Yeah, so if we want to send, so we went this evening, we went over several different proposals. If we want to also recommend to full council a second report or a minority report, we can do that as well. So I would just need someone to second that, and then we could decide which report that would be.
I'll second the motion.
So we would need someone to recommend a second or a minority report to also send to full council. Would anyone like to submit a second report from the ones that we went over this evening? That we would like to present to full council?
Yes.
Which report would that be, Committee Member Darby?
Which map or report?
Which proposal? Which map?
Map 9.
Map number 9. Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Second. All right, thank you. So at this time, we will vote on whether or not we will send a second or minority report to as a recommendation for full council. Committee member Darby.
Yes.
Committee member Oliver.
No.
Committee member Harley.
Nay.
Committee member Cabrera.
Yes.
Committee member Dixon.
No.
Committee member Spadola.
Yes.
And I will also vote yes. May I have the count, please, Marshall?
That is 4 yeas and 3 noes. The Yeas is Darby, Councilwoman Darby, Councilwoman Cabrera, Councilman Spadola, and Chairman Congo. And the nays is Councilwoman Oliver, Councilwoman Harley, and Councilwoman Dixon.
All right, motion passed. Next on the agenda, we will have our path forward. Marshall, would you like to go over this?
Yes. So the next action steps is a report will be filed with the clerk. So the report is actually an ordinance, and that report will be for proposal number 3, which would be the majority report, and also the minority report for proposal number 9. The official public hearing will be December 6th at 5 p.m. here in council chambers, which will be the official public hearing on the proposal to be submitted and slated to council for the December 9th council meeting. The first and second reading of the redistrict ordinance report will be at the December 9th council meeting. There's a redistricting committee meeting, public hearing scheduled for December the 16th. And the purpose of that December 16th redistricting committee is to vote out the redistricting ordinance. Then the third and final reading of the redistricting ordinance report is January the 6th, 2022. And based upon our process, the latest that this body of council can have the redistricting ordinance done to be in compliance with the city code is February the 3rd. But you also want to be able to take in consideration if, the mayor vetoes. So, that's the reason we also have to be very cautious of the timeline.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Marshall, for that summary. Just want to thank everyone from the public for your participation. This was an excellent meeting. I want to thank our committee members and council members also for your feedback. And it seems like we do have a plan to move forward. Several committee members talked about how we can perhaps have some type of synergy between the two maps that are going to be proposed to full council. So we have some work to do before our next meeting, and I know that we will work together and do what's best for our city. Again, I just want to encourage the public to continue to be engaged with us. It makes all the difference in the world when you are just letting us know how you feel about the moves that we are making and how we are moving forward with this redistricting process. You're definitely appreciated. And with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
That was good.
Any opposed? A meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.